But anyway, we're gonna call the meeting to order. John Beck is ill with the flu, and we're gonna ask for a motion to appoint a pro term Larry Stoltz to conduct the meeting for this evening. Need a motion and a second to do that.
I'll make that.
I'll second. Yes.
Keith?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Yes.
Tony? Larry?
Well, I think I'll abstain.
Well, come down here. You don't have to vote, just come down here. Okay, now I'll do roll call. Ingram?
Yes.
Ball is absent. Titus?
Yes.
Markwell?
Yes.
St. John?
Yes.
Larry sitting in for president.
Yes.
Kelsey, I'll let you introduce yourself.
I'm Kristen Flood. I'm here
Oh.
for, it's okay. Tracy Willenberg as village attorney.
She's sitting in at Effingham board meeting this evening. They're always on Tuesday nights, I believe.
All right, first thing, let's stand for a pledge, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on our agenda this evening, of course, are the minutes. Has everyone had an opportunity to review those? If there's no corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Call for a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay. Next item on the agenda is the bills approval. Any questions or concerns on that?
We have like a back bill from Charleston Engineering from 2013.
We had an MFT audit. It was all done on the phone, and I was getting her stuff to her and scanning it in, and Joyce and I are like, well, we couldn't even find that 2013, so we
Okay.
called Roger.
The expenditure statement, yeah.
Yeah, and he had neglected to send us that, and he had neglected to send us the bill then. We paid the preliminary engineering that year, but we
Okay.
didn't pay the engineering inspection.
Okay. The crane base? What's a crane? A crane base?
Goes
On what
to the
truck?
lift station.
Oh,
So
okay.
we can mount our
Okay.
portable crane that we pull pumps with.
Okay. All right, that's all I had questions about. I thought maybe it was a misprint. I'm like, oh, that's 4 years.
I know.
4 years ago.
I know.
You said you want interest.
I entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that.
Okay. Second?
I'll second it.
Motion's seconded. Call for a vote.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Tom Webb, you're on the agenda next.
Hi, I think I know everybody. I'm Tom Webb with the bank here in town, First Neighbor, and I came to talk to you a little bit about the Toledo IGA building. I think probably all of you know that the bank and the village both have an interest in the building. I had hoped that the turnover of that asset would go a little quicker than it has, so I'm a little disappointed in how fast this is going. I think we have an opportunity to avert going through the foreclosure process at this time. I think the borrower will sometime soon be able to just deed the asset to the bank and walk away from it, rather than filing a lengthy bankruptcy or filing another year-long foreclosure process. However, the issue is, of course, the village has a second lien, a junior lien to the bank's lien. And so I've just come tonight to ask or to gauge or to see if the village has any interest in essentially waiving their lien position so that we can speed the process up. You know, and our whole goal is to get somebody else in that building. I don't know if it's a pipe dream, probably to think that maybe we'd have another grocery store there, but I think we could have something there. We have had some interest in the building in varying degrees, different businesses, and you know, it'd be nice to keep at least one or two tax-paying businesses on the square. So you know, we've re-aged the square, but a lot of those buildings and properties have fallen off tax rolls. So anyway, it's our goal just to get the possession of the property and get it turned over to somebody who can use it as quickly as possible. So I'm pretty sure that the village can't make a decision tonight on it, because I don't think your attorney, I assume your attorney's going to need to be in on that decision. So I'm confident that what is owed on the building is much more than, owed to the bank on the building is much more than what the building's worth. So I'm just here to, you know, ask that you consider that, and then if you have some questions of me, I'll write those down. Some of those I probably can't answer. You know, there's some privacy issue on debt amounts and things like that. And if you need some exact numbers, I'll try to get those through our attorney, or see if the borrower will give me permission to give those. So if you have any exact or direct questions, I'd be glad to write them down and get back to you on those.
Okay.
So that's essentially why I'm here. Fairly straightforward. But
I did update Tracy on you coming and
Okay.
the questions that you'd had, and I'm sure she will get in touch.
sure, I'd be
with
glad to
you.
talk to her. And like I said, you know, the privacy issues and all that, there's just some things I can't share as of yet, but I think there are ways around that with permission from the borrower. I'm sure I can share some of that. And I don't know exactly what's owed to the village. I know it's somewhat less than 100,000, I believe, so, but I don't know the exact amount. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to at least try to answer them.
Okay. Anybody have any more questions for Tom?
The
Thank
last
you.
I looked, Village and us were still the only lien holders out there, so it's something that could happen pretty quickly if we can get a deed in lieu in the process and get it finished up, so.
Okay.
Okay, all right, well, thanks for
All
having me
right,
in
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you. Superintendent's report?
You guys have got my report. Does anybody have any questions on that? If not, the only thing on my report that I was going to talk about was the sidewalk on East Main Street. Roger's been up here and he's dropped off some plans. I don't know if anybody stopped by and looked at them when I wasn't here or anything, but basically he kind of detailed two options there, and I'm sure you guys are all familiar with the hole that's out there, the ravine, whatever you want to call it, drainage issue. One option is to fill that all in, and that option would require probably a 30-foot easement onto private property to do that, because we're gonna have to grade it back into the yard that's there, so that to meet proper grades, and then so somebody can mow it too. I don't really recommend that way, because the rest of the sidewalk should be on the right of way. His other option is a pedestrian bridge. That's what he came up with, and they put some in Effingham. And he got a price on one of those, and the bridge itself was 57,900 was an estimate that we got for that. And that's delivered here, that's not installed or anything, but he figured about the whole project would probably cost 150,000 for that sidewalk. Again, that's rough guess, because it's preliminary drawings and things could change.
Does that include the bridge, or?
I believe that includes the
Okay.
bridge, yes. So, one of the biggest issues with that would be traffic control, because when they bring it completely assembled, the only thing is the concrete abutments are poured prior, and they unload it with a crane and set it where it needs to go, and that's it. So
Are there any utility poles that have to be moved?
would be a phone pedestal, I believe, that would have to be, but that would be the only thing. And the only other thing, maybe a couple landscaping things that are out there they're on the right of way, but they're the homeowners' property that's out there, which I think everybody has agreed that that's not gonna be a big deal, so I'll pass that around, and you guys can look at it. There's a picture of the bridge and what it looked like in there. But that's kind of where we're at now, and I guess probably the next step is if it's something we think we want to do, which I think everybody's on board with that, we need to kind of proceed and maybe get the state's approval next, is whether they're going to allow us to do, which they've kind of already given, but they need a final plan. So that's kind of the direction that I think we should head if everybody wants to see that out there, and I think a lot of the community does. And so I wanted to bring this to you guys and show it to you, and I'm going to continue to work on both options and kind of make sure the price is going to compare, that we're not going to save a bunch of money if we go with one over the other, but he seemed to think that they would be similarly priced, total project cost anyway.
So am I looking at, is that like 7.5 foot wide? Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah, it's a total of a 6 foot or 6.5 foot walkway, I think, and then there'll be some on each side.
Should we draft a letter to Dollar General?
I don't know if we've done anything like we haven't
can't
done anything.
No, we haven't.
We have where I was left last was get preliminary prints, figure everything out what needs to be done, and then from there we can figure out how we want to pay for it or pursue financing or whatever. So.
I think,
I think though we need to have our plan and send that in with a letter and say, here's
Right.
what we're gonna do.
I would say shovel ready is what they call it.
And would you consider helping on this project?
okay.
But that's what I've got on that. And then we've got on here possible action on the natural gas agreement, but I have not heard anything from Green. I called them today, and I don't know if their attorneys presented the changes to them yet or not, so I guess we're on hold for that for another month. So.
You had it pretty in for Mr. Baker.
I have not yet.
We're down to one well.
We can run the other well, but I don't want to. So, but yeah,
But that's something you can do in the winter, long as it
yeah.
froze up.
So long as it's froze, you can get back there. That's when we've done the other ones historically, anyways, in the wintertime. So the production's down right now. So.
Okay.
But hopefully he'll get in contact with me soon and get that taken care of. So. But does anybody have any questions? If not, then that's all I've got.
All right, in regards to the items, your recommendation on our resolution with Greenup is just table it until we hear from them?
What did Tracy recommend?
She said either way.
Okay.
You could do something and then make changes if they
That-
felt the changes need to be made, or we can wait and see what they want to do and then proceed next month.
Who's that,
Once they have-
Tracy?
Yes, and once they have time to review.
Yeah, because like I said, I don't know if, the board member I talked to hadn't seen the agreement yet, so I'm assuming that John has not presented it to them. This is, we're good to go or we're not good to go, so I assume that we'll need to wait and hear from them, because they could make some changes, and then we're gonna have to look at it again and make more changes, so I don't,
So it's consensus that we are gonna wait.
But do they have this, or John does, to look at?
yeah, it's in somebody's hands.
That's been sent to
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought
Yes.
John had
Okay.
it. I
And
just
their
don't
meeting's
know.
next Monday night.
Yes,
So maybe they'll have time to look
like I
at
said, I
it.
just don't know if he's presented it to the Green Board, so.
Okay. Daniel, police report.
Yeah, a couple things I'd like to say. This past month, I hosted the canine training. Once a month, all the canine handlers get together and train to get our monthly hours in. Had a good turnout, had 15 canines in Toledo that day. I would just like to make special thanks to Carol Joe and the First Neighbor Bank. They gave us a foreclosed home to practice in. And then I would also like to make a special thanks to Mark Reese, because he went throughout the countryside here picking up broke down cars and brought them all to the village for us to practice on, and took them all back home. So I'd like to make special thanks to those two people for helping us out do the canine training.
Okay, I personally would like the village to express our thanks for Carol Joe allowing us to use that facility, and Mark Reese for bringing those facilities over.
Yes.
I mean, that's out of the ordinary things they needed, and
Yeah. That's why I told Mark Reese thanks.
thank you.
I told Mark Reese thanks that day. I said, you went above and beyond, and his only response was, is anything I can do to help keep the drugs off the street. So I thought that was excellent of you.
Well, I was in Casey's store that morning when all the dogs started coming into town, and they had individuals concerned.
Parrot called and asked if they needed to have a lockdown. The cops were in the woods out there. Didn't know what was going on.
I have a couple more things. I know with part-timers, I'm supposed to bring it before the board before I put anyone on the street. Steve Carr has said he would come back. He's worked with us before. He said he would be willing to come back and help us out part-time. And then the Cumberland County Deputy Berlin Peters also said he would be willing to come to Toledo and work for us part-time to help me
Good.
out. So,
Steve Carr is still listed as a part-time officer.
okay.
Berlin, however it's not.
Right. So I don't know if I need
Yes.
to make a motion to accept them, or if I can just hire them with the consensus that it's okay to hire them, or what I need to do from there. I'm still new to this
I think we're
game.
fine.
Pardon?
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Okay. And then, we got our online, protocol books. It's Lexipool. I was going over our updates, and, I believe we pay like $2,500 a year for that system. I think that's a big expense that the village doesn't need. It's for Chicago Police Departments, Mattoon Police Departments. It's got policies where if you have this, you gotta call out your crime scene, then you gotta call out your detectives, and it's, in my opinion, it's a waste of money. And Green Up Yoga, they have their own personal just books. They said we could go off of them to help make our protocols back. We still have our old protocols. I personally think it's a waste of money, but that's up to the village on that part.
I'm always
If you want.
always for anything to save money and right to suit our needs.
So, and I don't know where, like I said, I'm new to all this. I don't know where I go from there. I just wanted to present that to you and put it in your,
Okay.
Is that a yearly expenditure?
Didn't we just pay that, Daniel?
I didn't know. I thought maybe the first of the year I'd get it talked about, because I was doing our yearly updates.
Maybe.
So we're on the hook till end of the year. Probably.
And it could have been a year ago.
No, it was like yesterday.
And I don't know, maybe if you cancel it, they refund by how much of the year you've used, but it's just, I was going over updating our systems and sending out all the stuff, and it's geared for a big town. Our officers aren't even gonna be able to follow half the protocols because we can't do it. It's like we can't call out our crime scene or our detectives, or just a personal opinion there.
Is she going to look for that
Yeah.
information? Okay.
And I have one more item, I don't know if we wait on her to come back or.
No, go ahead. You have anything else?
Yeah, I got one more.
Okay.
Christie's is refusing to answer mine and the mayor's phone calls. We've left him voicemails, text messages. He still has 2 of our body armors. One brand new set, one from the state police. Our new guy's gonna need a body armor and I have none left. And these new body armors are only like, I don't know, 6 months old. So that's a pretty costly expense. I talked to the mayor about it. Was still trying to get a hold of him. He said if we couldn't get a hold of him, to talk to our attorney.
Have you
Have our
sent a
attorney-
letter or
I,
anything?
no, I wasn't aware of the body
Okay.
armor issue, but I can try.
Well, and that's, the mayor told me, since he wasn't answering, his recommendation to me was that we have our city attorney contact him and say, you need to return our body armor.
Okay.
And we will do that.
Mhm. Okay.
So,
All right.
and that's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. All right, we'll wait till Teresa comes back.
Can you give her a possible
It'll be
cost?
coming due,
Daniel?
Probably, we'll get it this month.
It's coming due at the end of the month, let's go.
We paid for it last year in February, so.
Do you know what that body armor's worth? I mean, I guess you get in
Between $800 and $1,100 probably,
each or for both?
each.
Each. So she
Yep.
could enter that in the letter, it's either to return them or send us a check.
We have, the new body armor for us is blue. The village purchased that. There is a tan body armor that the state police gave us to use before that. But with the state police, they told us that when that body armor expires, to get new body armor for our part-timers again, we need to have the old vest to return to them. So they'll give us another set. Because they just bought the new vest for us 2 full-timers, and the state police give us because they give their officers new vests every 7 years, but their vests are still good. So they gave them to us for the part-timers, but if I don't have that vest to take to them next time I need another one, I don't know if I can get another vest for our part-timers back.
I'll include it.
Firm, very firm.
Okay. Teresa,
uh,
middle of the month. bill,
Anybody
please.
have any questions on any of the reports? I have 2 middle of the month bills. The first one's to Pesty Lady for $70 for spraying up here. She's spraying every other week because we had the brown recluse spiders this summer, so we've got traps.
Infested with them.
Really?
Yeah. And the next one is to Toledo Democrat for $92.15 for our Christmas and our New Year's ad. That's all I have.
Okay.
Somebody needs to make a motion.
I need to have a motion to.
I'll make that to pay the
John?
2 middle
Made
of
a
the month
motion to
bills.
pay those 2 bills. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Call for a vote.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Clerk?
The only thing I have, I put the updated sexual harassment policy in your packets for review. We had looked at it last month, and then Tracy had mentioned updating a few things.
Has each one of our employees been given a copy
They
of this?
will once it's adopted. We'll give it to them. It's not a policy yet. I mean, once we adopt it, we'll make sure we get a copy of it. And I think it has to be adopted.
Jordan, have you had an
in
opportunity to go through
January,
it?
by January
I went through it, yeah.
15th.
Right.
And it has to be adopted state law.
Okay.
The law just changed in November requiring a policy. And it has to be put in place within 60 days of
November.
November, right, so.
All right. So. Discussion on this item. State mandated.
Correct.
I request a motion to adopt this resolution for this ordinance.
I'll make that.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the ordinance for the sexual harassment policy for the village of Toledo mandated by the state of Illinois. Call for a vote.
Yes.
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 Motion carried.
I do have one question though. When you hand these out to the employees, do they have a sign off that you keep on
Should.
file that they actually did get it?
We can do that.
I learned a hard
Yes,
lesson.
you need to. I learned that also.
I never got that. You didn't? Well, yeah, I've got the signature right here that you got it.
Yeah, we
You
can do that.
understood it.
It's
Yeah.
not a problem.
Right.
Every employee has a file, so we can
Right.
do that, yeah.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
All right. Do we have any trustee,
Now, that's every employee, right?
Mhm.
Like, you know, part-time
Yes,
police officers.
everyone.
Right.
do we have any public comment cards?
Public comment? No, I haven't done anything from them.
President, I have no concerns. How about trustee concerns?
No.
Okay. Being nothing further, you don't have anything anymore? I make a motion, not make a motion, I entertain a motion to have this meeting adjourned at 7:29.
I'll make it. Go ahead.
All right. Motion
I'll
adjourned.
second that. We're good.
Call for a vote.
Yes.
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 Okay.
I never got to ask.
Thank you, Christie.
No water problem.